Grydscaen Sentinels Bloodline Audio Drama Chapter 1 Part 5 by Natsuya Uesugi. Blood Curse of the Dauphin. Racing from his mother's room, holding back tears, loosed from eyes, in his drunk, not even old enough yet for wine, he swooned as he tried to make it down the hall, slamming into the wall as he escaped from Juliana. Shame like knives piercing, each cut drawing him closer to a hell he would never escape. Juliana's touch, her fingers lingered on his skin. His shoulders tingled where she touched him, inflamed. His mind raced in circles, spiraling out of control. The ages sparking around his fingers, the manifestation of his psychic power, as he dashed past Bowery the butler, who called out to him, "Young master." Retreating, Lino disappeared into his room, slamming his door, throwing himself on the bed. Grabbing the pillow, he hid his face in the down, screaming his rage, unleashed like banshees, cries that muffled an anguished threat to his ego, tearing him apart. Always, never. He hated her. He loved her. Lino Dejarre, wife of the Viceroy, first consort, beautiful angel, revered mother, demon, agent of death. His cries went unheeded as always, his pain unheard, as it was not becoming of one who was a young prince, as it tore him apart. Do not speak of it. Do not say anything. Be silent. You are the Dauphin. It is your station. His father's words, you must learn discipline. It is your bloodline, your honor. You are House Dejarre. His silent, tortured blood curse. The Dauphin may not cry. The Dauphin must be perfect. Every cell in his body screamed out in pain that no one ever heard. His duty, his breath, his station, a sepsis from which he would never recover. Tumors of shame, eating every last living fiber of individuality. His greatest fear was that he turned into his father, the Viceroy. There was no escaping his destiny. It was futile. Dive your mind. Shocked from his stupor with a nasty, foul gasp, Riuho hurled thick white paste between his teeth, jolted from his sedation. His eyelids heavy, twitching while last vestiges of narcotic mind control drugs they'd given him lingering in torpor. The tingle at his fingertips burned like daggers, slipping slowly under fingernails, prying them off one layer of cartilage at a time. The thick liquid dripped from his chin, falling into his lap as he looked down, noting the heavy metal belt at his waist as the room faded in around him, the humming of machines, the kinetic cells powering the computers in the room, making his teeth itch from a low-grade hum of electricity. The dull room still lingered invisible, unable to place the noises filtering in as his eyes woke to reality. He swallowed, the stench of the bile fresh under his nose as his stomach jolted suddenly, the liquid once more exploding from his lips until finally the lurching settled as he tested, unable to pull a full breath. He heard it. Riuho? Riuho? He latched onto his name, screaming, His eyes burst open as his nerves raged, red-hot fire, skin crawling. The white-coated lab technician crumpled to the floor, passing out, his glasses landing at 8-year-old Riuho's feet as he snarled, flexing his fingers, eyes wide. The rush of adrenaline overwhelmed, feeling the tech's arteries constrict as he used his psychic power to pinch nerves. The rush of excitement, the tech's blood vessels constricting as his psychic power raged, trying to stop the pain. His face lit up with glee as the technician collapsed unconscious in front of him. His young child mind awash in the sheer intensity of his psychic power that had stopped the torture that had been inflicted upon him. Fear-consuming, the second tech slapped the emergency alert alarms, screaming through the controlling chamber room at the Psi Faction as Riuho watched, strapped in the Psi sync device, lording over his restricted domain as he tried to control the situation and the adults. Jerking his arms as he attempted to break the restraints over his wrists and ankles, the belt at his waist held him tight as he thrashed in the seat. The tech punched the intercom, yelling, "The Psi restraints aren't working. Send guards now." The technician turned back to Riuho, waving his hands as he backed away, then suddenly jerked, freezing in place, his face going blank as he calmly stepped towards the Psi sync device. The tech released the restraints around Riuho's ankles as he was being controlled, and then released the belt at his waist, gently focusing on removing the right cuff, then took a step back and stood perfectly still, unmoving. Suddenly, his head jerking, the tech snapped out of the trance of his control, seeing Riuho free, his voice trembling as he realized what he had done. "Don't hurt me." Backing into the terminals, the tech's face contorted as he held up his hands, trying to block the force that was coming at him unseen. Riuho yanked the left cup open, rubbing his wrist, moving away from the chair, glaring at the tech as he bared down on him. The aegis sparking around his hands, the energy sputtered, growing larger around him as he approached, gritting his teeth, the intensity of his sigh, knocking out the lights in the room. "It was only a test," the tech called. "Riuho, please, calm down." Glaring, Riuho screamed, "No! Where's my mother?" The aegis raced up his arms, sparking to his hands, snaking over his fingers, circling as he raised his arms in front of him. The floor tiles flying off in every direction as he stepped towards the tech and stomped, slowly bearing down on him. "Stay back. Your mother. She's in the observation ring, down the hall, while they test you and your brother. Open this door." The tech turned to the terminals, opening the door to the controlling chamber at Riuho's command. "Sleep." Snapping his fingers, affecting the tech's nerves, who jerked, then fell, crashing to the floor with a nosebleed. He heard the voice again. "Riuho." Jerking, he turned at the psychic sending, sprinting down the hall. Bloodline consciousness. "Riuho." Muffled voices lingering in corners, fingers twitching to life as Lino opened his eyes, the corners of the room fading in. His wrist ached as he glanced down, seeing the ice-cold metal restraints, feeling the cuffs over his ankles, strapping him to the chair, the thick metal belt hugging his waist hard. The hum of the Ketic cell keened over his head as if from somewhere far away as he sat restrained in the Psi sync device. The cuffs tight, chafing at his wrists, his skin prickly, sweating under the padding, the metal rings digging into his flesh, leaving his skin red and raw. Sluggish, eyes unwilling to focus, his head foggy from the drugs they were pumping through his veins, his body refused to respond to his requests, the room fading in and out, trying once more to flex his fingers. A noise to his left, eyes darting side to side, then concentrating. The right restraint cuff popped open at his wrist. A technician came into view over Lino's shoulder, grunting, taking Lino's rebellion to heart as he fought through the drugs, the psi conditioning and restriction of the psi restraints, holding him in place. Raising his eyebrow, the technician grabbed Lino's right fist hard, shoving it down to the armrest. Slapping the restraint cuff down, adjusting the clamps, Lino once more controlled, unable to move, the tech taking back control. Swiping his hand in front of him, the tech glanced over, glaring, a screen popping up in the air before his face. Lino, glancing over, seeing his headshot on the screen as the tech spoke to the room, giving commands that were recorded. Text subject, X2194125. Subject's name, Emiliano Patrice Dejarre. Subject has extreme codis infection. Initial test point to both psionic and distiller power. Anomaly encountered in testing. Subject able to fight through restraints. Setting aside restraints to 65% should counter anomaly. A scruffy voice rang out. Very good. Whimpering, head aching, his state of brainwaves increasing, eyelids fluttering, shaking his head, Lino's moans were drowned out by the humming of the Ketic cell that ran the Psi-Sync device chair. Run the new personality rehabilitation protocol. Yes, doctor, configuring now. Lino moaned, the pain dull, prolonged, battering his skull, relentless, finally passing out. Doctor, analyzing his brainwaves, his construct is at 80%. Should we continue the treatment? Continue. But Dr. Wren, it's not safe. The protocols. Ignore the protocols. It doesn't matter. The tech turned up the dial on the machine, sending a final burst of Ketic energy, causing Lino to cry out. An alarm went off as the technician tried to turn the dial down. Dr. Wren placed his hand over the tech. No, continue. Then turned off the safety protocol alarm. The dials ticked higher as the Psi-Sync device delivered the Ketic energy, then shut down suddenly. Check the readings. The technician pulled up the logs. System auto abort due to brainwave anomaly. The procedure terminated as Lino's heart rate flatlined. Gasping, seconds later, his heartbeat kicked in as the monitors chimed and heart signs once more came back into regulation. Dr. Wren, he's reached 82%. We broke the psychic barrier. We've never seen that before. A screen popped open with a guard in front of Dr. Wren. Dr. Wren, notifying your test subject, Lino Dejarre has escaped the lab. We have him trapped now in the observation room. That's fine, thank you. The tech interrupted, but Dr. Wren, Lino's state of brainwaves remained erratic. The psi conditioning didn't work. Incorrect. Preliminaries completed. File your report and post it to the research lab. You were dismissed. Yes, doctor. The tech shut off the screen, glancing at Lino, meeting his eyes as the lab door opened. A black-clad Psi Faction guard entering as the tech left the room. Dr. Wren, I'm reporting as ordered. You requested resources from Commander Galen Alred. Take the test subject to observation. Put him in with Riuho, his brother. Make sure to record their interactions. Let's see if their psychic conditioning affect their coded psychic power. Yes, sir. The guard moved as a Psi-Sync device, seeing Lino groggy in the chair, his eyelids fluttering. Dr. Ren's eyes burst open as he scanned Lino's test results. His readings. That's impossible. A digital window popped up in front of Dr. Ren, displaying Galen Allred from the ops room, frowning and glaring, definitely upset. Dr. Ren, I warned you. The guard released the restraints over Lino's ankles and wrists, picking him up, then carried him out of the room down the hallway. Yes, Commander, I take full responsibility. Galen barked. Meet me in Zun's office now. Dr. Ren quickly gathered up the brainwave logs from Lino's side conditioning and ran out of the room to meet Galen, knowing that in his defiance he had awakened a sleeping giant.